Greetings, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Here in California, a tremendous controversy has ensued due to a decision by a court of appeals to the effect that parents do not have a constitutional right to homeschool their children. And so the Court of Appeals has held that unless you are credentialed as a parent to do so, you cannot just homeschool your child, barring some extraordinary circumstances. Now, the governor of California and also some politicians have disagreed with that decision and have stated that they are going to change the law as written unless the Court of Appeals decision is overturned by the Supreme Court. Other states are looking with interest at this battle because many other states do not have any rules, and so they are looking a little bit at California for a lead as to how to deal with the situation. But regardless of the legal situation, what about homeschooling? Is homeschooling the solution for everyone? And the short answer to that question is absolutely not. Homeschooling is not for everybody. If you decide as a parent to homeschool your child, you had better make sure you understand the tremendous responsibility you are putting upon yourself. First of all, you got to be qualified. Now, I don't mean credentialed. I mean qualified. Are you qualified as a parent to homeschool your child? Are you qualified to go through with your duties and responsibilities? Are you going to be willing to make sure that your child is doing the assigned tasks which he or she should do, rather than asking the child to do some scores at home instead? I have seen examples where that has happened. Another big problem with homeschooling in far too many cases is that children grow up without the development of any social skills. They just don't learn how to correlate and how to relate to other kids because they are pretty much isolated in far too many cases from other children of the same age. Now, I'm not advocating, obviously, being involved in gangs, doing drugs, getting tattooed all over your bodies. I'm talking about social skills with other decent children. And so when those children grow up, they can't wait to get out of the house. And in far too many cases, they say that we have been imprisoned and now we are going to become free. And then they do all the things which the parents should have taught them not to do and perhaps even teach them not to do. But the problem is they didn't do it the right way and they were far too restricted. And so this is definitely a problem. Now, on the other hand, I have seen cases, many cases for that matter, where homeschooling has worked very well. But you see, it depends on what the parents are doing, how the parents are teaching their children and making sure that they develop the social skills towards others. You see, Jesus Christ didn't come to take us out of the world. Now, spiritually speaking, yes, but not physically. He said, you are the lights to the world, and you should not be placed under a basket, but you should be on the top of the hill to shine to others, to give a bright examples to them as to how to live. Now, you have to start with your child to teach him that, and you're not doing that by keeping him isolated from everybody else. Then you are putting his life under a basket. So it is important, if you decide to homeschool, that you are fully aware of what you are getting yourself into. Are you qualified? Are you willing to go through with it all the way for the best of your child? At the same time, if you decide to place your child in a private or a public school, that is not where your responsibility as a parent stops. Quite to the contrary. Originally, our two children were in a private school, which was sponsored by a church. But then, sure enough, the church started to change all its belief systems and all its doctrines. And so I wasn't about to just sit idly by and let the teachers now teach our children this nonsense that church has started to adopt. And so I went to the teacher. And I asked them, are you going to teach those new concepts? And I was fully prepared to take my children out of that private school. But he told me, no, he's not going to do this. But I still didn't take his word for it. I just made sure, talking to my children, looking at their assignments as to what was being taught until I was satisfied that not wrong concepts were taught them. But of course, due to this turmoil the church created, the school then collapsed and was closed, and I had to take the children, obviously, to another place, and so we signed them up in a public school. But again, I made very sure, and my wife, we made very sure that we were in contact and communication with the teachers, knowing full well what they were teaching, telling them what our religious belief system was, not willing not to be accommodated, not willing to just have them teach some of their nonsense to our children, like the ungodly concept of the evolution theory or the sex education classes which you are having right now. And so I talked to the principal, And she assured me that religion doesn't stop at the door of the school, and I told him it better not. But even then you got to make sure that the religion which is being taught, whether it's in private school or in public school, is in accordance with what the Bible teaches. Don't just abrogate your responsibility, turn your back on your responsibility by saying, oh, now my children are in school, and so now it's the responsibility of the teachers. No, absolutely not. That is a tremendously wrong mistake you can make. In order to help you as a parent to decide what to do insofar as the teaching and responsibility towards your children is concerned, we have prepared a booklet. It's dealing with marriage and with families, because married couples, first of all, should be in agreement how to teach their children. And then they should teach their children accordingly, starting with a young age. But that responsibility never stops until they die. And so please request our free booklet on marriage and families. And if you read it carefully, you will not regret that you have ordered it. So thanks very much for watching, because you need to make a decision. And as I said, it is up to you, and it is up to your responsibility and to your individual circumstance as to whether homeschooling or private school or public school is a thing for you. Don't listen to necessarily others how they do it. You got to decide based on your individual circumstance. But once you decide, pray that you make the right decision and then follow through with it, following the will of God. In this society, there are no perfect solutions, but some solutions are better for you than for others. So again, thanks very much for your attention. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.